My name is Jen Toller. I work with Stitch Factory, which is a fashion creative house here in downtown Las Vegas. Managing partner, so really run the business alongside with Megan Mosler, who's the owner. So we focus on brand development and really bringing that life alive for the different brands that are around here locally, and we work, outside of Las Vegas as well. You start something 3 years ago with an idea, and every day is ever changing, and of course over the course of 3 years you see what works and what doesn't work and you react. So initially the idea of Stitch Factory was kind of bringing what was happening in technology with the whole co-working environment within technology, and so what does that look like for fashion? So we actually had a co-working space for designers to come and work out of, and with that there are demands of brand development and production and education. So really throughout the last 3 years, understanding what the market here in Las Vegas was needing and what we could support and what could be supported vice versa to be successful. So it's changed a lot from day one to where it is now. But really just focusing on the bigger picture and just trying to help the local community and look at things in a different light and how it can impact outside of our demographic as well. Being agile, I think that's huge. I think if we would have stayed, or I know if we stayed with just like that original thought and didn't listen or react to what was working and what people wanted, I don't think we'd be here, because everything always changes and you have to react. But you got to stay true to who you are and what your mission is, but and figure out what that means long term. So I think having a good community to support us here locally, and then also having a great staff that understands the vision as well, and really just working towards that ultimate goal and not sacrificing that. We're really collaborative, so we like to work and really help emerging designers or creatives, even if that's graphics and they want to start a t-shirt line, or artists that do murals, or musicians within what they do, and really find those individuals and take what we know and what they know and collaborate together to bring that overall vision and that lifestyle come to life. So being able to offer that opportunity to these other artists and creatives that maybe didn't have that platform before, I think for us that's what's most rewarding and shows us success is it worked. There's the financial side of it that's like, okay, check, that made money, but check, people actually understood it and they reacted and they were going out actively and trying to find that product. We work with a lot of startups and a lot of different businesses within Las Vegas. So I think in the way that we do our brand development and the promotional side is at some level what it is. We take our background and our history of being in the fashion industry and understanding the trends and what's worked, and having buying backgrounds and or design backgrounds, or like what works, and then really diving into each client, not just looking at it as like, oh, here's your product, let me put it on this, or here's your logo, throwing on that. It's like, who are you as a consumer? What's your mission? What's your brand? Who's coming to you as well? And then curating the best product, and and or also adding different artwork maybe that they didn't think of to really tell their story in a stronger way, and drive revenue maybe in an area that wasn't a focus, and or an area that maybe they would have spent more time on. So kind of letting us focus on that for them. There's this thing downtown called Downtown Project. We're actually part of one of their portfolios of small business, and I think having that relationship and that support and that within the Las Vegas ecosystem as a whole has been huge to not only our success, but I think even people that were here that were starving artists or companies or startups, it gives them attention, and people have now relocated or coming down to Vegas and really helping, and overall the city is supportive of people and entrepreneurs here in Las Vegas and getting away from just what's happening on the Strip. You just have to go with your gut. I think sometimes there's things behind it that the historical, facts of what works and what doesn't, what's maybe social platforms or what type of different websites are working and not working and why. But then there's the gut feeling of what makes the most sense for you and for your brand. And sometimes you just throw and see if it sticks, or you go in educated enough that like this should work, and making sure you have tangible expectations and goals and things that you're hitting along the way. we set goals or we set a roadmap, but it's ever changing, and it can be frustrating as a a startup and a company, and doing something in a mindset that's not really being done at some level as well. So we just try to hit the type of goals that we can understand and see, and then learn from that hurdle, and then adjust and change. And so as a company, where sometimes we're just like, oh, what's working, what's not working, there's still those things that keep us sane, and then what we can kind of work towards, and then evolve a change, and then reach to again. So I think it helps grow focus and feel self-accomplishment, and knowing that we're going in the right direction. This is one of the largest trade show cities. There's so many people that come to this town. It's absolutely insane. With that, it's very transient, and the industry is extremely interesting, in the demographic and how things are run here in Vegas. But I think with the way that we really want to focus, our future and our support system, and being a strong brand house for, artists and musicians, and, restaurants, and even casinos, and really changing that from the the norm of uniforms, or the norm of product that you sell, and look at it from, like, let's find out you as a brand, and like who's walking in your doors, and what do they want to walk away with. What are they going to grab and wear that next day and the day after that, and really tell that story. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, because there's so many businesses that are opening, and so many things that are consistent, and so much opportunity to communicate with so many different diverse people within our ecosystem. My world is downtown. So seeing that a year ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, or even 6 years ago, I mean, it's night and day. Like, it's pretty amazing to see the transformation of what's happened downtown. But also, I don't live out in Summerlin, but they just had a whole downtown Summerlin open, and they're supporting their local community out there, and Henderson, and even the Strip, like being able to watch all these different casinos, flip and change, and talk to the new generation of who's coming to Las Vegas is it's really exciting. It's an exciting time, I think, with what's happening in the industry of businesses and entrepreneurs, and to watch it unfold. I think there's amazing people here locally in Las Vegas that you can reach out to, and sit down and talk through, and bounce ideas off of. I'm very fortunate to have great mentors in town. And for me, that would be my biggest hurdle, is accepting that I don't know everything, and that's okay, because I know that. But being vulnerable enough to ask for help. And I think, honestly, for myself, and I think actually as a whole of downtown, like something that I think we all kind of sometimes struggle with. It's always changing. I think for us, like, my background's always been buying, or brand development from a cut and sew perspective. And I think there's so much stuff that's happening there, and again, it's depending on what's happening out in the world, which really affects what happens and what goes into the marketplace. Focusing on what's being put on what. It's not just throwing a logo or throwing product on something. It's really understanding who these people are and building brands. I mean, even the music festivals, I mean, that's been a lifestyle for ages and ages. But I think this younger demographic of individuals are really living it, and it really is a whole lifestyle on how they dress, and what their activities are, what they spend their money on, where they're going. So I think it's kind of been a really interesting time to see how that's been changing and evolving as well. Just being out there. So, going to the different marketplaces, meeting these different people, knowing what's going on in the fashion industry. So, going to trade shows, following what's going on, talking to people, seeing what people are actually wearing. You've got Instagram, you've got blogs, you've got magazines, there's live streaming of different things happening all over the world all the time. So really just tapping into those right, focus points, and really understanding who we're trying to target at that moment, if it's a music festival, if it's a coffee shop, if it's whatever it may be, and really pulling that out and making sure we're presenting the right stuff for them. I think something that's just going on right now, and it's all the rage, is drones. And there's this company called XDC that's doing drone racing, and there's actually a competition this weekend. We actually do their merchandise for them as well. And I think that from a technology base and I mean, I don't know if they were really made to be raced, but that makes sense as well. So they actually create a whole course of things for them to go through, and they just did their first one I don't know, 2 months ago, I think, and it's just taken off.